Hi, let's draw a bird, a wren today. And here I have a bird in a clear cello wrapper, or you can just get some cling wrap or glad wrap and stick it to the top, just so that you can mark it with a whiteboard marker and then erase it, change your lines, do whatever you like. So let's have a look at what we can see. And for starters, there's a very distinct angle between the tail and the body. Now it looks, so I think that would be 90 degrees roughly, but it's just a little bit more than that. So there. Now that we've done that, let's start our drawing. So here is the tail. That would be 90 degrees, but no, let's go just a little bit more. There we go. And this is where the tail meets with the body. The head is going to be here somewhere, the body's going to be here, and there's going to be a gap in between. This here looks like the highest point of the body, so we'll just put it in there, and we can see that just underneath the tail, so the tail point is here, there. The fluffy feathers, so this is where the body's going to end. So let's put in a bit of an egg shape for our bird. Great. Now we already have this dent in here, and we can come out and we can put in another temporary circle for the head. If we now look at the photo, we can see that body at the furthest point here. We could pull a line like so. If you like, you can also do it like this, but I think this one would be easier. So now let's replicate that angle, and it would be like that. So that means that this curve will be inside the line. Then we'll have our furthest point, and we'll come down like this. A little dent in there, the head, and now let's put in the eye and beak line. Now the furthest tip of the eye, look, it lines up with this furthest point of the body. I might use a different marker. So that's a very good clue. And when we put in our eye and beak line, well, there you go. That's where they're going to go. So, coming back to the bird, I will draw a line from this furthest point up, and now it's at this point that we have our eye. Yeah, and that looks pretty good. Now, let's get rid of all that. So now we can, this curved line goes like this, and underneath this eye beak line will be the bottom of the beak, and on top will be the top. And then we can see that his cap is on an angle like that. See that angle in there? And then there's about an eye's width or a little bit more up here. So we'll come down, up, go up like this and up like that. And he's looking okay. Let's erase some of these lines because we don't need too many. Now, there are many more reference lines to follow, and it just makes it all so easy. We know that the ear patch starts at the bottom of the beak. So if it starts there, it'll be roughly there. And if you have a look at the cheek and how the feathers go, there's an S shape in there. Can you see that? The S. So let's put the S in. Now we know that the feathers will start there. And looking at our photo, they're going to end about here. So if we draw a line like that, we have just blocked in the main part of the feathers. Okay, we'll rub this out. Try using red again. See the curve of the ear patch. And then there's the curve of those wings. Well, that's another good telltale sign. So we could go like this, and we can go like this. The mantle, the start of the back feathers, seems to end with the ear patch. So it'll end around about here. And when you have a look at this, it's on the S line that we had before. So the S and the S. So it comes around, and this is where the blue is going to finish. So we can put that line in and the blue. Let's go up to his cap. The blue is attached to his beak and then goes up and kind of like that. And now we can go back to our ear patch and reference where this ends. So we can also see that this is a zigzag line. So you can do it any way you like, as long as you find some relationship between something and something else on the bird. We could do this area here and use this point and come around. So we have this point here, kind of comes a little bit over the wing and just under that furthest point. There's a bit of blue in there. How about this area? Looks a bit like that. All of a sudden, everything will fall into place because we have the proportions right. With the tail, see how there's the longest feather? That's on the, it's on this side, but it's lifted a bit. Anyway, the angle of these feathers is like this. Which somehow corresponds with this. We have this line here, and we can put one in up here. Now we can simply put in some feathers, tail feathers, following that. Behind his tail, he has a few fluffy ones. Yep, there we go. And possibly my egg shape here is a little bit too much, so let's bring it in a bit, like so. There's the front wing which we already have, and there's the back wing. Now you'll notice that this line and this line are pretty parallel. So let's do that. Let's just put in a parallel line with this and the tail, which means that the back feather, back wing, will come out to there. Now, if we have a look at the tail and bring a line out like so, and then we can come down to the back foot and like this, and that is where the back foot is. Then rub it out. The space between the 2 feet is roughly a foot, or I like to call these socks. That's just what I do. And so if there's a sock between them, let's put in a sock over here. This is the front one, so you'll see a little bit more of it. And now we can put in a foot. And this one, lo and behold, is parallel to the tail again. This and this is roughly parallel. So we know that the angle of that should be like that. There we have it. Now rub it out. Okay. Now this particular fellow is on a slope. All right. And he's, being a passerine or a perching bird, he has one toe at the back and 3 at the front. And he has, this is his back toe and his front 3, which you don't see everything of, but for now we'll just do it like that. Okay. Some shadow under there. Now we can look at all these sections and just evaluate if we think we've got them right. We can put in, that's the back of him. Okay, let's get a marker and go over these lines to make them look a bit more presentable. We'll start with the eye. The eye isn't totally round, but it's a bit like that, a bit like an eye. There's the eye and the eye beak line. And we come in a little bit there, and now his throat and the widest point. Okay, let's keep in mind this is where the blue finished on his back, and it's kind of in line with the ear patch. And then there's some shadow area around the eye because the head goes in and then out again. And going out again, that's why there's always a bit of a highlight just there to the side of the eye on the bottom side, because that side bulges out again. Alright, his cap is a bit on a slope like that, let's put in his the back of his head. Like that. Now you can recall that this line here was for the greater coverts on his back. So what you really see, we don't have to fuss about the feathers, but if we were, this is where the feathers, those feathers would be. And let's put in the triangular shoulders, the black ones, and the black back. Like so. He also has some tail coverts, the little feathers that extend from the back and go up the tail, and they happen around about there. A line will come over this one because that foot's on the other side. And his toes, the back toe, there's only got one joint, and it's just one little lump with a little bit of a lump underneath the claw. And then this is the inside big toe, so it's a little bit like our thumb and this one, the pointer. Inside it's got two joints, 3, 4. So on this foot we're seeing the outside one, that one has 4 joints. So you count them from on the inside of the bird. So 1, the inside, 2, 3, 4 joints. But we can leave that for another day. So let's do the back big toe. We know that this toe is on the outside of the bird. It's going to have the most. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then the next one has 3. And the next one has 2, because it's on the inside of the bird, and that's the same as this one then here. And this little sock is on the side closest to us, so it'll be a bit like that. And his chest area is black. Well, it's got a lot of beautiful blue through it, but just do it like that. Here's some blue, and it's always great to show some shadow underneath the wing because it's not pressed right against the body and therefore creates some shadow. He's kind of walking down there. Oh yes, the tail. So there's our little fellow. We can rub out all these pencil lines. I can see that I've forgotten a line for his blue feathers here. Yep, that'll do. So let's colour him. Let's just put in a few feathers. We don't really have to, but how about just like that? I am going to use for our little fellow a little bit of phthalo blue with a little bit of lavender and a little bit of white, and colour that bit in, and the ear patch and the mantle and a bit on his chest. Let's just paint all that in. Oh, even the beak. Okay. Now we can spread some of this out. Now we'll go on to the wing. That, and let's spread some of this out. And now I think we have to wait for it to dry a little, otherwise it'll be a mess. I do like the bleeds that happen on wet. They're always really nice and interesting. So I'm just going to go for a bit of indigo now. And I'll use indigo to do the dark bits. But I'm going to use a bit of I'll use cobalt today and a little bit of ultramarine and just bring it down here. It still looks black, but it's got a beautiful blue sheen to it. A little bit of wetting to let it spread. And now back to our indigo for the back. And these feathers in here. And the tail. The tail's normally a bit blue-black, so we'll just do that. And how about a little bit of indigo, blue and our tan colour just to create a bit of shadow under here. And there we have it. Just a quick little colour in, but just makes him look more alive. So thank you for watching, and I hope you'll join me next time. If you like what you've seen, please press like and subscribe, and you'll get notified when the next video comes along. Thanks so much, and see you next time.